Hello, welcome to the Wise Way to Success podcast. And today we are going to be talking about how to find your voice. So many clients of mine tend to hold their voice back. They don't speak their mind. They shun away from things because they're scared of what people are going to think about what they say. But today I have Natalie Mayotte in the house. I said your name properly, right?
You sure did. You mastered it.
I got my voice to say your name properly. Perfect. So, Natalie, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here. I just want to know a little bit about you before we go into the nitty gritty on how to find that authentic voice.
Mm-hmm. How far do you want me to go? Because, we could be here for a while.
We are a short show. We want to give our audience tips quickly and fast. They're probably driving home from work or to work and they don't have much time.
So, bottom line is I started off working with kids many years ago, so 30 plus years. And I think through that, I've learned to communicate well with kids. So getting down to their level. Adults are just big kids. They just want to be heard. And as I move through careers, realize that this is something that I really enjoy. And let's face it, we're good at things. You do what you do because you're good at it. I do what I do because I'm good at it. And it's about finding those tools that can help you. So creating my business, founding it came from a personal need, becoming a mom and having flex time, being available. And I am the example to her. She's 7. And if I want her to have a voice, I certainly have to show up and have that voice as well.
Okay. So let's get into it.
Okay.
Because I know a lot of people who are also have social anxiety.
Yeah.
And they don't want to speak, in front of a crowd. They don't really want to be heard or seen because of fear of judgment. Yeah. Okay. That's a big thing that I see here at the clinic. My question to you is, how does somebody who is so scared to say what they feel or speak up out of fear of judgment or shame, maybe they even had past fear, past trauma that created this fear, how can they find their voice?
Yeah. Well, I think that every situation is unique. That's the first thing. If they're seeing you, I think that by far, I wish you were around a few years ago for me, and I probably would have been able to find that voice a little bit quicker. Finding your voice really stems from wanting to be heard. And for me, I will answer your question, but if I go back just a little bit, what I've discovered this summer, did a workshop with a bunch of ladies. And as I'm talking, and for me, it's intuitive a little bit. No, a lot. It's a lot intuitive. I actually say out loud, I really just wanted to be, I was speaking up and speaking out and loudly to be seen, but not to be heard.
Oh, yeah.
So let that sink in for a second.
I
wanted to be seen, but I wasn't being heard. So this loud voice I had was booming. And if you think of people in your network or your family, your friends, and you think about those loud people, I suspect a lot of the time it's kind of that, like, I'm here, listen to me, I'm here, or see me. And I think that's what happens. So if we can start shifting and finding the differentiating between those two things, that makes a huge difference. Because now when I'm showing up, like we were just talking about, I want you to hear me. I don't really care what you see. I want you to hear what I have to say. I want you to feel the energy. And I think if people just brought that awareness piece in and thought, if I just showed up and if I just said what I had to say and carried on, like moving through the grocery line, right? You buy, you walk through and you pay. There's no judgment there. You're getting what you get. But if we say what we have to say and just say it to be heard, it could resolve a lot of things. Yes. And don't get me wrong, I too struggle with the wanting to be heard and not seen. And I'm nervous as well when I show up online. It's absolutely natural. When you know that the being nervous is there, so the awareness, and then it's like, oh, what do I do with this? And most of the time what we do is we're embracing the negative side. That, oh my God, what are people going to think? It's the fear that we embrace. And man, she is, am I allowed to swear here?
Sure.
She's a bitch. Right?
It's a critical voice. It's a critical voice.
She is just not nice.
Yeah.
She's not nice. But imagine if you flipped it and you get excited about what you have to share. Like you get excited. And I've been told in the past, Natalie, you're too passionate. Too passionate. Yeah. Because the emotion comes in and all of those things get mixed up. For me, it's really about, let's get excited about who you are and what you do. And not worry about all of the other stuff. Mm-hmm. Because what I shared this morning on social media was we all have value. Everybody has value to share. Why aren't we sharing it? Mm-hmm. And sometimes it could be that fear. Maybe it's because you just don't know how to say it. So that's where somebody like myself comes in and helps you navigate that structure and starts pushing away all that stuff, all the negativity and the fear. So stand strong to be heard, not just to be seen.
I love it. So true. You are you must see a lot of different types of people. You are a speech coach. I think we probably would be surprised by who we would imagine is probably still anxious or still. I've seen some very powerful people who are still scared about being judged and being. It's everybody. It's not just you made it or you've achieved so much success so you don't have that. I think it's a very relatable issue that we all have that, a little bit of that, fear of judgment and wanting to be seen and heard. So what is a common, if I may ask you, what is a common fear that you hear someone calling about, would you say, in terms of they're looking for your services, they know that you're a speech coach, what are they calling about?
Well, definitely the nervousness comes in. Am I going to remember everything? What do I have to share? And bottom line is we all have stuff to share. And it's about digging a little deeper and figuring out. And also showing people that we present every day. So we're presenting now. Our conversation a few weeks ago on the phone, sort of a presentation. That definition of presentation, I like to kind of stretch it out because you may be presenting the one-on-one, you might be presenting it to a small group, to a client, potential customer, and maybe you're going to score that keynote where you're in front of hundreds and thousands of people. You still have to present. So let's define what that means, define who are the people that are listening to you, the audience, and then let's figure out how we're going to manage the nervousness and the content and the delivery. So there's multiple steps. So let's start with just who are you in the context and who are you presenting to? And let's figure out how we can get that information out there.
Interesting. Because, I find is that we overthink things and we make this about what is that person going to say? What is that person going to think? What do I have to say? But ultimately, these are just the fear-based thoughts that we have. Ultimately, if we stayed in our story, in our own mind, didn't worry about judgment, fear, we would be so much calmer because we would just be free of the fears of judgment and all of this.
Because it's not about you.
Right.
It's about your audience.
Yes.
And I had this conversation last week. I have somebody in my network. Yes. She's prepping for a presentation on Tuesday. And she started the whole presentation about herself. And I said, but it's not about you. She goes, but it's about my business. I said, yeah, but your job is to attract more clients, customers, whatever. But you have to make it about them. Why is this important for them? Why is it important that people listen to you? So yes, there is a part of it that you're going to share a story. However, the story has to be relatable to who's listening to you. So the people that show up on my doorstep are people who are ready to say, I need to do this differently. This isn't working. My message isn't getting across. I don't feel in the right energy. And I've seen anybody from female business owners to teachers, real estate agents, people that are needing to present daily, but they really want to stand in that power and deliver something good and feel good about what they have to say. That's what you want to do. You want to deliver something and feel good about it.
Absolutely. So of course, a lot of it is mindset. How you're thinking about things. How are you feeling about things? Do you have a physical I mean, your vocal coach, your speech coach. Do you have a physical strategy that somebody can do? Like, I'm big on breathing. Like, I'm big on, like, take that breath because we forget to breathe, right? So I'm going to present.
That's because when we're excited.
We're excited, or you get so anxious that you're like talking like, okay, and today, and I just hit my microphone. So you start to keep talking, and you forget to breathe. So what would you say is a physical strategy? So there's, of course, the mindset strategy. What's a physical strategy that someone who's nervous can do?
You know,
if you have one.
Well, the breathing one is a great one. It would be a go-to.
Okay.
It may not be a physical one, but think about just stopping. We live in a fast-paced world. Mm-hmm. And I've had this argument with people before, and I stand strong on it. Just slow down. Take the time to share. Mm-hmm. Pause. Because when you have all this great stuff to share and you are just rolling through it, we have missed all the important stuff in the middle, and we've heard the, hey, how you doing? And thanks for listening, and everything's in, so it's not necessarily that physical that you're looking for, but it's the structure, I guess, that the physicality of what you are sharing. Just slow down and be okay with it. And I when I work with teens, I say, how many of you are comfortable with silence? And they all want to die because nobody just wants to stand there and say nothing. But that silence is powerful. Taking the pause is powerful.
You know, speaking of silence, no pun intended, speaking of silence, the sound of silence, which is like a great song. Yeah. The sound of silence is speaking in a different way. There's
100%.
Different ways to speak versus just the verbal. We think that it's our voice that we could speak with, but taking a pause, slowing ourselves down, giving people a chance to just breathe and take that pause is very powerful. Just giving people that moment to even reflect on what you've just said is very powerful. Mm-hmm. But we get into our story that I have to give the information out. I have to talk fast to make sure I don't forget something. But in doing that, you're losing the message. Yeah. I like that. Slow down and take a pause. And it goes back to something I was teaching some clients before about grounding. Mm-hmm. Just ground yourself. Just take that pause, because when you're speaking to your audience, if you are in the moment, you're speaking to them, not at them. Yep. 100%. And that has such a better relatable feel.
Absolutely. And I think it's one of the first things that it is one of the first things I will coach a client on is slowing down, pausing, removing some of those words that you don't need to use in your language, kind of like the diet for your language, taking those little words out that aren't adding any value to what you have to share, and making them slow down. And I will make somebody start over and over and over until it sounds, let's say, perfect, but it has good flow, and they're taking their time.
You know, I'm a big believer. One of my favorite quotes is taste your words before you spit them out.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite quotes. Taste your words before you spit them out. And I think that we shoot out our words. And what happens is that when we just speak and shoot out words, we could even say things that we don't mean, we don't want. I like the slow down. Taste your words. It's okay to taste them.
Because that's where the emotion gets brought in, right?
Yes.
And there's we're living through a lot of emotion right
Absolutely.
now. And often things are said that you might not want to say them right away. I'm a big fan of, you get that message or email, let me just sit with that for a second before I spit those words out, because it would be horrible to, hurt somebody just out of reaction or emotion. So,
and even finding your authentic voice is slowing yourself down.
Absolutely.
Because you may not be authentic if you are saying something out of an emotion before tasting your words. Yeah. This has been super insightful. I want to thank you so much. I just have a couple of questions, like really just how do people find you? Okay. And, what else would you like to let people know?
So if you need to reach me, I'm a big fan of the phone, obviously, because I'm a conversationalist. So 514-242-1344, or go visit nataliemayotte.com. It's my website. Master Your Authentic Voice. Happy to answer any questions and support people in their speaking journey.
Thank you so much for coming. You know what, everybody? The wise way to success is to help you be the most successful version of yourself. So I hope today you learn how to find your voice, speak your truth. What you have to say matters. Have a wise, wonderful day.